Hi folks, this is Don Meissner and Linda with the North Country Fishing Report. I brought Linda along again today because she might be able to answer some questions that I think a lot of people might have as they listen to us talk about things. So go ahead.
Well, actually, I was listening to you do your research for your shows, and I heard the phrase controlled drift. I
Yeah.
had no idea what that meant, and I'm always eager to find out new things because I don't fish. So I'm asking the expert here, what is a controlled drift?
Well, what they're referring to is anytime a person is fishing in the current. Now we're talking about the St. Lawrence River or any of the other tributaries where you're fishing in current. The current is going to drift food along to the fish, and the fish are going to be suspended in this current. And as they see things go by, if they look normal, they're going to probably go out and hit them. And so a person, any boater, needs to be able to control his drift so that when he's fishing, whatever he's putting out there below him is drifting naturally. And this is actually a skill that any good fisherman needs to learn if they're fishing the current. So this is what we're talking about, controlled drift.
So if you know how to quote read the river as we've talked previously, would that mean that the person who's trying to learn how to fish more effectively would be looking at the river and looking at the way the current might be going to perhaps decide where to place his or her hook with bait?
That's a good way of looking at it. Yes, it's critical that you realize that anything that the fish see going by them, it has to look natural. They know what that current's going to do. So your ability to use your trolling motor and whatever else to keep your boat drifting naturally in that current is critical.
So that would mean you might be more likely to catch more fish.
Oh, absolutely. That's the whole ultimate goal.
Well, for someone who has fished very sporadically, well, once, it's something I'm still trying to learn a lot about.
Well, you pretty much have to if you're going to help me do all the things that I'm doing.
Yes.
So anyway, you had another thing you wanted to ask me about.
There was a question about a bottom bouncer.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Well, actually, you heard me on the phone talking to Jigger Jim.
Yes.
And I was asking him about the walleye fishing out in the St. Lawrence. And he
That's
said
right.
the way most of these people are catching them right now is trolling or drifting. But if you're drifting, you have to drift properly. Like we were just talking about, being able to control your drift. He said another way to really effectively fish out there is to use a bottom bouncer. Now, for people that don't know what they are, they're a device that you hook on at the bottom of your line, and it actually will go down and bounce the bottom. If you can't feel that bouncing the bottom, and that will keep your lure down where the fish are.
That would require a very precise touch, I would think. When you're working with a line and the lure, you'd have to really be paying attention to what you're doing.
Well, that's what you have to do all the time, honey. That's really critical, paying attention. That's what makes a good fisherman. They're always paying attention, and they're always confident. They're always believing this cast is going to catch the fish. Mm-hmm. So they're so attentive that any little strike they're going to detect. But in this case, a bottom bouncing, I did shows on this back years ago, and I was fishing with a friend of mine in Canada. And this technique became very popular in Canada about 20 years ago. And they would for people fishing walleyes in particular. Because walleye fishing in Canada is almost a religion there. That's what people really, really love.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. And these bottom bouncers, it was never something I really loved to do because I don't like to have extra stuff on my line. Mm-hmm. But they're very effective. You can feel them if they're working properly. And if you're at the right speed, you can feel them bouncing on the bottom. And this is critical.
That's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen one.
No, we have a video of that old show that I did that you'll have to look at where Bill McHugh was teaching me all about it.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't really understand bottom bouncing. When I did my shows, so often I would go places and I would not be the expert. I would be the student learning, and there'd be people there to help me and to make me be able to fish the water the best way so we had the best chance of getting a show out of it.
That's fascinating when you stop and you think about it, because not everyone has every set of skills that you need to fish every species. So
No.
you have to
You're
align
absolutely
yourself
right.
with
You're
folks.
already knowing a lot of things that most people don't. Each species has different habits, and to be a good fisherman for that species, you have to understand what water temperature they prefer, what speed they're both most going to be reactive to. In other words, if you're trolling, every species has a different speed that you should troll that will be most likely to get them to react and strike. There's so much about it. Every species likes to eat a certain type of thing based on where they live and the type of food that's, some things work well for everything.
And
like
they might-
worms will work for any kind of fish. Every fish likes an angleworm.
I was thinking about the folks at sports shows who like to watch the muskie fishing, your videos, and it appears that those are typically very successful. Those shows in the late summer when the water is very low.
They make it look real to the people, and they make it look like, hey, we can do this too.
Yes.
Linda, thanks a lot for helping me today. I always need help.
It was fun.
Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner and Linda with the North Country Fishing Report.